on medieval medicine, or 1,200 years of history summarized in under 5 minutes. Alright, right about there is the capital of Byzantine. They were in charge of this mess, and they're the reason that medieval medicine was so terrible. Now, if you live above this line, there's a very large chance that you may not survive a doctor's visit. Up there, they drank mercury and just learned to brush their teeth, but like the adolescents they are, they still refuse to. Down here, below this line, they're actually washing their hands, and some of them are even having trials for new medicines. Now, if you were to visit a doctor above those lines, there are 4 people whom you might visit. First off would be the physician. They generally kill more people than they treat, and were viewed as incompetent. Next off, you have the barber and barber surgeons. They went into the business of cutting hair, and along the way started cutting other things. The apothecary would be the next on the list. They put mercury in most of their cures, and they're really just nerds. And next is the local wise woman. Your best chance of getting an actual treatment, considering that they focus more on results. However, their magical cures tended to make them look like witches, and they were treated accordingly. Now, medieval physicians believed that the body was balanced by 4 humors: blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. And all living things tend to follow these 4 humors, except for plants. And sometimes animals, and this is all, I didn't put those there. Okay. Next off, we would have how a physician would treat an imbalance in those humors. First, a servant would be sent to collect the physician, and on the way to the patient, the physician would ask the servant all about his afflicted symptoms. That way they could look wise and old in the ways of medicine when they arrived. Then, they would note the phases of the moon. Depending on what phase the moon was in when the symptoms started, the cause of your symptoms would change. Then, a urine sample would be taken, note of its color, odor, and taste. Next, you were required to pray to God for treatment. All diseases was a punishment from God, and you receiving treatment without praying for it is a sin. Next is the bloodletting. I'm not allowed to go into detail about this, but there were a few alternatives if someone would not be able to survive the procedure, such as leeches, or a glass container being heated up, stuck to the skin, and creating a vacuum which would suck all of the bad things out. Finally, your funeral. Preparations for this would begin as soon as the doctor was sent for. Now, believe it or not, medieval physicians had a lot of really good ways for treating burns. Many of them would carry around creams and salves that a lot of them prepared on their own, and these actually worked. They were not, however, very good at cleaning anything else. They knew you needed to clean wounds with soap, and if you were rich, they would use myrrh. However, they didn't clean anything else, so you usually died of an infection. Finally, dental care. Everyone knew that you needed to brush your teeth. However, most people did not have the implements to do so, so most dental care was taken care of by a blacksmith. Now, medieval physicians did have a really great way of treating fractures. They would combine water and flour to create essentially hardtack around a broken limb, setting it in place. However, if your fracture was in any way complex, the surgeon would step in. Good surgeons could amputate a limb in under a minute, and would spend the remaining 4 minutes of your consciousness controlling the bleeding. In conclusion, call the doctor as a last resort in medieval Europe, and that's what most peasants did. Thank you.